Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're going to break down what is basically a masterclass on crisis management, and it's been preserved for centuries right inside the pages of the Quran. We're going to unpack the playbook of one of history's most powerful rulers and see exactly what he did when his entire authority was threatened. Let's dive in. So this is the big question for today. Really think about it. Put yourself in this position. You're at the absolute top. People see you as almost a god. And then all of a sudden, someone walks into your court and challenges everything you stand for, in public. What's your move? Do you panic? Do you start arguing? Or do you have a playbook ready to go? Well, Pharaoh had a playbook. Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in ancient Egypt, right in the court of the all-powerful Pharaoh. The Prophet Moses has just performed an incredible miracle, a divine sign that cuts right to the heart of Pharaoh's authority, and he does it in front of the entire royal council. You could cut the tension with a knife. This isn't just some friendly debate. This is a direct threat to the kingdom's entire power structure. So what's Pharaoh's first move? Does he try to debunk the miracle? Does he argue with the facts? Nope, not at all. His first move is straight out of Politics 101. You discredit the challenger. You don't engage with the message, you reframe the messenger. It is all about controlling the narrative, right from the jump. Now listen to these words, because this is so key. Pharaoh immediately turns to his inner circle, his top guys, his most loyal supporters. He doesn't show an ounce of fear. Instead, he projects total confidence, like he's seen this a million times. He doesn't ask, "Whoa, what was that?" He says, "Oh, I know exactly what this is." And then he slaps a label on Moses. Not a prophet, not a man of God, a learned sorcerer. And when you really break down that one sentence, you see just how calculated it was. It's a masterclass. First, he uses a label, sorcerer, that everyone understands and already has a negative association with. Second, by talking directly to his chiefs, he's solidifying his base, making it an us versus him situation. And most importantly, he takes a divine sign and completely reframes it as just a cheap political trick. And we really got to understand that word sihir, or sorcerer. In this context, it didn't just mean some guy pulling a rabbit out of a hat. No, a sahir was a highly skilled, incredibly influential person, an expert in arts that could literally sway public opinion. So when Pharaoh calls Moses a sahir, he's really calling him a rival political operator, a spin doctor trying to pull a fast one. Okay, so he's defined his opponent. What's next? Well, a label is only powerful if people buy into it, right? Pharaoh knows he can't act alone. He absolutely needs his council on board. He has to find a way to make his problem their problem. And this next move is, from a purely strategic point of view, just brilliant. Check out the language he uses. He doesn't say he wants to drive me out. He says he wants to drive you out of your land. See what he did there? He masterfully flips this from a personal challenge against him into a national security threat against all of them. And then he plays the humble leader. So, what do you guys advise? Let's be real, this is not a genuine request for new ideas. It's a calculated move to create a united front. By asking for their advice, he gives them the illusion that they're part of the decision, that he's being open and consultative. But he has already guided them exactly to the conclusion he wants. In one smooth move, he goes from being the guy on the hot seat to being the defender of the entire state. All right, so the pieces are set. He's labeled his opponent. He's unified his council around a common enemy. Now the stage is set for the final move. And the advice that his council gives him, well, what a coincidence. It just so happens to be the perfect course of action to serve his own strategy. And here it is, the big plan from the council. They say, hey, let's delay this thing, put him and his brother on hold, and send messengers out to every city to round up every single expert sorcerer in the entire land. This is perfect for Pharaoh. It buys him time, and more importantly, it sets the stage for a massive public showdown that he gets to control, on his terms. And this just lays it all out so clearly. The entire strategy boiled down into a 4-step playbook that is, frankly, timeless. Step 1, label. Define your opponent before they can define you. Step 2, unify. Make your problem everyone's problem. Step 3, delay. Seize control of the clock and the calendar. And finally, step 4, dominate. At the end of the day, this was never really about finding out the truth of Moses' miracle. The goal was pure political theater. Pharaoh's plan was to take this moment of incredible vulnerability,
this direct challenge to his rule, and flip it into a massive, overwhelming spectacle of his own power, cementing his authority in the most public way he possibly could.
And that leaves us with a question that echoes all the way from ancient Egypt to our world today. When we see these big public showdowns, these debates and contests, are we watching a genuine search for truth? Or is it all just political theater, carefully designed to reinforce the power that's already there? It's definitely something to think about.